Okay, so here I'm at chess.com battling the chess engine, the Komodo 14 at 1800. I played the black pieces, and I make a lot of mistakes in this game, but we're going to go through it, and I can learn, and the audience can learn. But I did squeak out a win. I played at 77%. The computer played at 71%, set at 1800, and so there's a few moves in here, so let's get to it. And I want to kind of show you some ideas as I go through it. Okay, so I play the black pieces. And here recently, I've had a habit of doing that, and it works. I used to not bring the bishop out to the f4 and take that knight, but I like the idea of messing up my opponent's pawn structure. And it seems like that's a quick, easy way to do it. There's certainly other ways to do it, but I've fallen into a habit of doing that. So, yeah, and this is one thing I wanted to point out, and I want to point out to myself is I don't really forget, but I need to use more in my repertoire, I guess you could say, is this fanchetto idea. And I lack seeing that a lot of times in my game, so that can help me. Hopefully that can help you, the audience. Okay, so one thing about my opponent getting that queen out, I mean, that was a good attack. You know, I get it. But if you get to moving the queen around too much, then you're lacking development is kind of the price you pay. In the beginning, remember you want to control the center. That's what it's all about. And develop your pieces, your minor pieces. Get your minor pieces out there. Your major will come into play later, your three major pieces. But I always think of it like if you are managing a restaurant, you want to get your employees out there, get them working. If there's an employee that's been taking out the trash for 20 minutes and smoking a cigarette by the dumpster, you know, get him in there, get him making some French fries or something after he's washed his hands, of course. And so this is a mistake on my part. This is exactly what I was just talking about. I mean, developing this piece here, I mean, I control this diagonal, but if I would have set up like a fanchetto situation, you know, I can control all of this, and as soon as I move this pawn, I'm threatening this rook, a major piece. So I failed to see that in the game, and that's something that I definitely need to work on. Okay, so let's keep this going because I want to show a really nice ending here, and hopefully this will give everybody some ideas and give myself some ideas. And here, I hate to retreat back here, but I need to get some things going, and there wasn't room for my knight to go anywhere. So in this case, it is okay, and you saw where the computer said it was okay. It was a good move just so I can better position that knight. Okay, and so yeah, I should have took that. That would have been a key square, because if this took, I would take with my knight, take with knight again, and so yeah, that's clearly the way I should have gone. It was to take that pawn, but I didn't. So okay, now here I want to point this out real quick. You know, which pawn to take with. Usually, all things being equal, it's better to work towards the center of the board. Okay, so this is a wing pawn, and I want to work it towards the center of the board. So that can help you decide which pawn to take with in this situation. Okay, so now I've got my knight back out finally, and you know, here my opponent moving around that queen way too much. Okay, but I make my share of mistakes too. Now here, the same situation I want to show you, or similar situation. I can take with my knight or the queen. So I chose the queen because this is an open file. I want to own an open file. Okay, bringing the knight back down to the bottom rank, from my perspective, the bottom rank, the eighth rank, you know, that doesn't do me any good. It's best to keep the knight here, and when I take with the queen, now I own this open file. So that's something that you want to work for, these little advances. Okay, and so now my opponent wants to own the open file, and I kind of suspected that might happen. Okay, so I have a rook that's just sitting here, not in the game really. So let's get him out there. And so, if I can't own that open file, I don't want my opponent to. And it, turns out my opponent now does with the queen, but you get the idea. Okay, so now I'm right back to, well, if I can't open that open file, then nobody can. So, and now I'm forcing my opponent, these forcing moves. This is what I like, is to, this pawn is under attack, and I'm in a position where my opponent is just always, forced to move. Then that stops them from setting up a game plan, if you will. And yeah, I'm trying to threaten this, kick it out of there. I should have used the pawn. We're close enough to the end game. The queens are off the board. This pawn protection of the king I like, but we're close enough to the end game. The queens are gone. Matter of fact, all the major pieces are gone. That's why I should have went ahead and used the pawn. But that's okay. Here, this is a blunder. One of the things that, chess is about mental control, and I just kind of reacted with this because of my fear of, I don't want to end up with, say 2 knights or something against 2 bishops. This doubles bishop pair, it's okay if, I have that in endgame, but I don't want my opponent to have double bishops. Those are deadly. So that's why I was hoping to do an exchange, even though I was going to have a double stacked pawn. So I do have a chance to get rid of that double bishop, which was my end goal. But I did get a little lucky, I confess. There were some blunders by the computer. Remember, this is an 1800. 1800 for me is very respectable. I definitely have to, stay sharp or I'll lose the game. Yeah, 1800, very respectable for me. So here, I just try to fight fire with fire, which computer says, was not the best way to go. It's like, so in other words, you take my piece, then I'll take your piece, but then they can take this other pawn too. So that's where, fighting fire with fire wasn't the best idea here. But it did work out okay. I was surprised to see this trying to push the pawn. I think that's a little bit early. So I'm going to just block that and get my knight a little better developed. Again, now towards the end game, you want to get your king out there, get him working. I should have pushed this pawn up first just to help kind of control this area. Besides, the king can't even go here anyway, so that's why it was a blunder on my part. So maybe hope that'll help you learn. But remember, towards the end game, don't keep your king hidden away. Get him out there, get him doing stuff. He's got to go to work. He's got to pull his weight. Okay, so I want to keep going with this. Okay, so kick that knight out of there. Yeah, so this is a blunder, and I'm going to show you why. I just said, we need to get the king out there and get him working, but my opponent's king is working too, and the opponent's king can slide down here and start taking out my pawns, and I don't want that. So I should have, putting my king here would have prevented that, because then I would own all around my king. Okay, I can come back and get this. This pawn is trouble, but I could pick it up later. So that's why picking it up now was a mistake, because yes, I did take out that troublesome pawn, but now in doing so, I've endangered my pawns back here. So chess is like a battle of yin and yang. You can't take something without giving something in return. And so there's a lesson in life about that too. So let that be a lesson in life as well. You can't take something without giving something in return. Law of balance. Okay, let's keep going, because I wanted to make this a quicker video, and if you've seen some of my other videos, regardless of the subject, you know that me making a quick video is difficult to do. So let's keep this going. Yeah, my opponent really doesn't want me to queen, but it's too late at this point. Now with proper chess play, I should have this easily won, despite my constant boogery. And there it is. So I hope that helps. Um, just remember the biggest takeaway: control the center, get your pieces out there, get them working together. One piece by itself, even the queen, can't do a whole lot. So get your pieces out there, get them working together. Hey, thanks so much for watching this video. I do cover other topics on my channel, but I try to keep it around chess, science, automotive, and a little bit of nature stuff. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.